FDNY Diversity, Ireland's 4-day work week experiment, and should Santa Claus be canceled? Today on Good Work.
Hello, workers of the world, and welcome to Good Work Podcast, a roundtable discussion show about the world of working. Working is a major part of our lives, so we should talk about it. I'm James Mastriani.
I'm Matt Newell.
And I'm Jake Lloyd Bacon, and we are comedians, writers, performers, and varied types of artists here in Los Angeles, California. We're not journalists. We're not political pundits. So take this information and do with it what you'd like.
But that being said, if one of the major news networks wants to hire me to be a political pundit, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, honestly, any of them, really, I'm available.
My sister used to be on Fox News as
in what capacity?
So she was a defense attorney, and she was like a pretty prominent defense attorney in New York City with some high profile cases. And every time I think they had her
mob
on,
stuff.
No, in fact, more like people doing time for crimes they didn't commit, that kind of stuff. And so I think that, and it wasn't like the Fox News that we think of it right now. I'm sure it has always been that, but it was more like, oh, she had a relationship, and so they like brought her in for like, oh, well, let's bring in a defense attorney and get their opinion on this thing that she has nothing to do with at the moment, but like as a professional, and I think it was short-lived.
That's cool.
First story of this week comes from the chiefleader.com, thechiefleader.com. Subscribe for less than a cup of coffee. Adams signs New York Fire Department diversity legislation. Mayor Eric Adams signed into law a packet of bills intended to diversify the FDNY, the nation's largest fire department, and better reflect the demographics of the city it serves. The legislation also provides firefighters with protections against harassment, discrimination, and bias. The FDNY, not a very diverse organization. There is I know this from some other work I did for the chief a short while ago. There's this group called the Vulcan Society, which is a group of prominently black, and now I think it's extended to be people of color firefighters in New York, which was sort of this society of like, hey, we are part of this community, and they sought out to end discrimination and just sort of be a unified front in the face of the very white FDNY of the era, and that goes back to, I want to say, the 70s potentially. Our city is changing. Our city is evolving. I think it's evolving for the better, the mayor said before signing the bills. And when we allow the change to embrace the tradition, we make ourselves a better place. No matter who we are in these various places of profession, at one time, we were all locked out. At one time, we were denied access. And through the change of time, we were allowed to open the doors to all groups. And we produce a better product because of that. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious as to what the actual bills do. I know that there's an issue with the tests stemming from racial biases and, the deep-seated white supremacy that is in all of our, civil servants and civil organizations. But I'm curious to the actual fine details of like, great, I made a bill to diversify the FDNY. What does that mean? Is it about like affirmative action? Is it about like needing a specific amount? I'm curious.
Yeah. I don't.
Council Speaker Adrian Adams noted the department's gender imbalance and also that just 8% of firefighters are black, 13% Latino, 2% Asian. Taken together, the racial and gender disparities are not just staggering, they're bad for the department, the communities they serve, and the public safety, she said. But the speaker added that she was proud of the council's new achievement. Our work is not done, but we're another step closer to achieve the equity that we deserve and is needed to make us safer.
We got to get those sexy calendars more diverse too.
Yeah, more than more than 3/4 are firefighters are white men, and 40 years after the department began accepting women into its rank, just over 1% of them are women. It's also crazy to think that it's only been 40, like just 40 years ago, you couldn't be a woman firefighter.
The 70s,
yeah,
something like that. The 80s,
yeah, up to the early 80s, but. Well, whatever it is, it's obvious. Do you guys feel like it's, I don't know. I feel like when I think of the demographics of New York City and of these communities, it really makes me wonder, like, where do the firefighters come from? Because some of these communities have such a small white population, yet have such a large white representation in civic services.
I gotta feel like it's like a family thing. A lot of those times too. It's like my dad was a firefighter. I'm a firefighter.
Right.
It's like a lot of nepotism there, probably.
Sure, absolutely. Totally. Yeah. That you're 100% right.
This is Jimmy's son. This is Jimmy's nephew. He can work here or whatever.
It's also probably like the fact that, like I said, the tests are rooted in racial bias and stuff. So it's like the organization probably doesn't lend itself for a more diverse group of people to infiltrate. I say the word infiltrate like it's a negative thing, but you know what I mean? Like just to have representation in the organization.
Yeah. And, on top of that, I mean, like there's just so many sections of the government that have just, wreaked terror on communities of color for generations. And it's like, I think a lot of them just don't trust government agencies and a lot, I think it's like a really tumultuous relationship.
I always have felt like the firefighters got the pass though. Like I don't know. There's something about like where I'm like, I trust firefighters and then some. Like no, like your sole purpose is to protect and serve literally like people.
Yeah.
Whereas like the police is like, as we've discussed in the show, it's to protect and serve property and capital. Totally. But I've never seen a firefighter been like, probably, probably looking out for themselves more than they are us.
Yeah, I definitely think firefighters, when it comes to like, I guess government nobility, they definitely, I feel like probably get the biggest, I don't know. I guess the
public pass,
the public pass. Yeah,
it's the Dalmatians. It's
the Dalmatians
like cheat code.
It's also like, hey, they're running into burning houses. I
mean, especially in California too. I mean, they are true.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like their job is crazy with it, like with the wildfires and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. We think of like fire departments and we think of like the truck pulling out of the station and going to the house down the road. But we don't realize that in California.
With the ladder that goes up and the men running around and getting tied up in the... Yeah, we all think of...
it's yakety sax.
The movie Roxanne.
I think they're playing yakety sax in the background, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny. It's good.
I was going to say, there really is the whole like thin blue line thing is such a fabricated, like...
of course, yeah.
The idea that the only thing protecting society from itself are the thin blue line of police, but on the other hand of it, during climate change and everything, especially in California, firefighters are kind of a real thin red line protecting cities from burning down.
It's National Guard.
Yeah.
It's like a thin khaki line here in California. They wear those like the khaki and yellow.
All right. So what I wanted to talk about here today is the fact that the results are in from the massive trial of the 4-day work week in Ireland.
Oh.
And the findings of the trial are as follows. So afterwards, 100% of the companies that were involved with the trial are going to move forward and continue with the 4-day work week because it was so productive.
100%. You never hear that about anything.
Nope.
Never. Totally.
It's always one holdout or
Yeah,
one.
there's always-
I mean, I would see like the highest I hear is like of a poll is like
Right.
88% or something.
Or it's
like
it's
that.
always it's always that one asshole dentist who doesn't want you to use Crest toothpaste. So it's like the 9 out of 10 dentists agree. It's always some jerk holdout.
It's always that toothless dentist.
Yeah, he's like, use river clay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
85% of those companies reported a greater growth in revenue than with a 5-day work week.
Well, it's because expenditures, right? You're paying for less for that
You're
fifth.
paying for less.
Yeah.
The people that are there and are present are more productive because they're not fucking burnt out. The average rating for managers on productivity was 9.2 out of 10. 100% of the employees involved said they preferred this work schedule and said that they found stress, burnout, fatigue, and work-family conflict had a significant decline. They did a study and found that the average amount of sleep time increased within the participants. It also improved environmental metrics, reduced waste. Was especially good for women who reported an even higher, greater satisfaction with life, and more secure in employment. I mean, like, just there's this long, it's a very long tweet thread of all the different things that came out from a 32-hour a week, 4-day work week. I think that's
I mean, it's frustrating because it's one of those things that just seems so obvious.
Yeah.
Which is like so many things in politics, but
I wonder what things will go. I wonder if like people getting blasted on the weekends now, because I feel like you work 5 days and you're like, okay, 2 days to fucking get fucked up and forget about my job.
100%.
I wonder if it like that will like bars will go down. You know,
no, it's
what's
gonna think about all the work it's gonna create. It's good for capitalism. They're gonna sell more merchandise. It's gonna be good for people who work security. People who work for security are gonna have more employment. Like, I think it's ultimately gonna be good that people have they need to burn off more steam, that they're gonna get even more smashed. They have the extra day.
No,
you don't
but
think so?
they're not going to be burnt out. Like I feel like that's a release.
I see.
Like
what
I
you're
feel like
getting
the
at.
5 days is like that's the.
I understand. Yeah.
I think it's like they'll go down because they're not needing to like get in their real life or their like fun life, cram it all in so quickly.
Right.
I feel like that's what it is because like that's you just the weekend working for the weekend is so stupid.
It's
It's like I'm just working this thing so I can I'm working most of my life to have these 2 precious days where I can really want to be alive. Like, it should be a 2-day work week. I'm 100% reversed.
Yeah. Because we're at a place now where like we're at a technological place where like we can sustain life for everybody on this planet very comfortably,
Right.
and not have to keep fucking producing all of these things that are unnecessary, like we learned in a couple episodes ago, like the waterbed, right? And capitalism forces you to try to find problems to solve that are not there so you can make a profit. There was never a problem where people were having not enough water in their mattress. But somebody saw a way to make fucking millions of dollars off of it. And now, here we are.
Do you think that there's a world where this even comes close to being the norm in America?
4-day work week?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, you do. Oh, wow, you
I
guys
bet
know-
you. Here's my prediction. I bet you it happens in America before we get universal health care.
Well, that I will sign off on. Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I think
as
it's
well.
going to happen in America. Well, yeah.
Yeah. I think like the pressures over time will eventually, eventually like,
And if they see it's making more money,
totally.
Right.
that's all
true.
it takes.
That is
There
true.
it
Like,
is.
like it doesn't matter what they don't care one way or
Yeah.
the other. They just want the money. Like,
Right.
Totally. I mean, I think you're right. Like it sounds nice to think that 100% of those companies continued with the program because they are really, really kind and they love the fact that their employees are happy.
Yeah.
No, it's because 85% of them saw growth in revenue.
Right. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it might be the only thing that is a win-win for both the labor movement and the capitalists and
Exactly.
like corporations,
100.
which there are
Hey.
so few of. There are so few things that
So
that
few.
go where it's like, yeah, hey, this is good for everybody. Let's just do this.
Let's do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's great news. Hopefully, I mean, I don't have a regular job anyway. What the fuck do I care? It's not going to affect that.
Yeah, same.
I haven't worked in a regular job in so long.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe it's coming up, though.
Fox,
I got a
Fox
feeling
might
it's
call you up.
coming
and
soon.
Fox might want you to come
Hey,
give,
yeah,
your,
we're
give your thoughts on
Fox
5 days a
News,
week.
hit me up. Hit me up. Let me be the clown leftist on your show.
I just remembered one of the stories that they brought her on for was the Kobe. There was like a big Kobe Bryant trial or some sort of case against Kobe Bryant like years and years ago. And I remember she was there.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you
Some
doing?
kind of.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
I know. I remember it. I don't want to get into it. Listen, guys, got a little bit of news here. This comes from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Heard
Here
of
we
it?
go.
Owner of this represents Pittsburgh perfectly. Because James is the only one I know from Pittsburgh. Owner of 13 McDonald's restaurants accused of child labor violations.
Oh, Pittsburgh.
There we
You
go.
were so close. You were so close.
The U.S. Labor Department has found 101 child labor violations at 13 McDonald's restaurants throughout western Pennsylvania. The restaurants are owned by Santonastasso Enterprises of Bridgeville. No idea how to pronounce that. The Labor Department said the company paid a $57,000 fine. Not enough.
That's it.
McDonald's, yeah. The government said the franchise owner allowed 14 and 15-year-old employees to work outside permissible hours. The violations include minors working, and these are a few of them, more than 3 hours per day and after 7 p.m. on school days when the law forbids work beyond that time. Later than 9 p.m. on days between June 1st and Labor Day when they may legally work until 9. More than 8 hours on a non-school day. Jesus. And more than 18 hours a week during regular school week.
Wow.
Inspectors also found one case where a minor was illegally operating a deep fryer. Good God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Just frying up anything
Just
you could find.
Running the deep fryer. He's got a cigarette hanging out of the corner of his
Yeah.
mouth. He's
Yeah.
just frying some fish fillets. Like leave the 14-year-old kid alone. He's got kids to raise. He's got a family to feed.
He's got 5 o'clock peach fuzz. One of the franchises with minors working illegal hours is in Oakland near Pitt and Carnegie Mellon. You know that area, James?
Oh, I know that area very well. I know Bridgeville very well too. Have
Several
some
students who
family
were patrons said they were outraged. Yeah, there's just a lot of 13. I mean, this guy, I guess this enterprise owns a bunch of these McDonald's.
Right, yeah.
yeah, I feel that's such an interesting with the venture capitalist sort of job now. It's like I feel like people can now just have a company that owns other companies.
It's insane.
It's so weird.
Who's yeah.
Anyways,
Man.
I worked at McDonald's when I was 14. That was one of my first jobs.
Did you work over there? Did they ask you to work over your allotted time?
Can I say I don't? It was obviously very long ago. I do know that I definitely worked more than 3 hours a day, though. Like when you said 3 hours a day on school days, like I 100% worked. I would go right after school and then I would work almost until closing, which, by the way, was also after 9 o'clock sometimes. So I don't know if the laws have changed. This was,
it might be state to state.
90,
it might be the 90s.
Yeah.
That was probably the 90s.
I'm trying to do the math on how so it would have been 97.
97.
Yeah. I worked at a retail store when I was 15. I got my first job. It was a place called Rose's, which was kind of like a Southern Kmart.
I remember Rose's. Yeah.
It was only in like the Southeast, I think, but it was basically Kmart.
Sure.
And I worked there at 15 after school. I think we worked late too.
Right.
I had to get a permission from my parents. I had to get them to sign the thing.
Right.
But I forgot that I was 15 because I couldn't drive the first year I worked there.
Same. My first job, I was at 15 as well, and I worked in the smoking section of LB's Big Boys.
Love it. You love to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, I sold firearms at Rose's. I worked in the section because in the section with like the electronics was also like bullets and 22 gun like rifles and stuff. No handguns.
But yeah.
But I feel like I worked there. I worked behind the register there and sold guns to people.
Well, you just love to see
fucking hilarious.
And then they went out of business.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a little bit of Pittsburgh news for you, James.
Man, I mean, it makes sense. I'm sure Pittsburgh, the steel industry, rich history of child labor in Western Pennsylvania for sure. 13 McDonald's. That is, God, I wonder how much one McDonald's franchise profits in a year, like on average.
Oh, I think it varies based on location. I'm sure the one in, in the middle of the country off a highway somewhere doesn't make as much as the one in Times Square or something.
Right. Yeah,
it's just the people who are there. Just
well,
I wonder what the most the biggest or the busiest McDonald's in the country is.
Let's look it up.
Jake's on it. Jake,
are you on it? Okay,
since
Jake is doing it, Matt, you and I have to guess the city. What city it's in? I'm gonna go. I do think that it's probably in. Well, you said New York, and I don't want to take New York away from you. I'm gonna go with. You know what? I'm gonna go with like the Atlanta airport, or like I feel like it's an airport. McDonald's.
I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say New York. I'm going to say it's in Southern California. It's in San Diego.
So everything that I am seeing is very surprising, but there's also contradictory things here. But
oh no, but I'm more right probably.
So I have seen California. No. See, this is just the busiest states. I think this might be the answer, which is ridiculous. It is at the I-95 Service Plaza in Darien, Connecticut. It is one of those like off of the turnpike ones, but it's at such a massive intersection of roads. So it's not what you would think. It's not that they have constant foot traffic all day like in Times Square, but instead it's just this constant flow of cars probably all day long. That's my guess. Let me see if I can find a second one that states that, but it does seem that's kind of the winner. Yeah, across all of them. Yeah, McDonald's on I-95 in Darien is one of the busiest in the nation.
Wild.
Just because of its location for highway traffic. I'm trying to find like a map. I can't find a map of like, I'm sure that there's a few highways in the tri-state area that probably all kind of lead in and out of there. But that's a shocker. That is a shocker. Now, California as a state is the highest grossing McDonald's as a state. Like, but that's also not surprising because California makes more money at everything. Yeah.
Now, it might not be the
home with the cheeseburger too. It's like where it was.
Right.
The fast food chain is from California.
The world's biggest McDonald's, just so you guys know, not most profitable, biggest as in largest, is the biggest is in Orlando, Florida, which makes so much sense.
Of course.
Yeah. Of course it is.
It's McDonald's land.
Yeah, totally.
McDonald's most tackiest location is in Orlando.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well, before we take the break here, I just want to talk a little bit of Starbucks news, if you guys don't mind.
It's what we do.
Please do.
This is Starbucks adjacent news, so it's not specifically Starbucks, but it's one of their. This is adjacent. It's another fast food chain dealing with unions in a shitty way. Chipotle illegally closed store to kill union effort, officials say. This is out of the the HuffPost. The burrito chain shuttered the Augusta, Maine location before workers had a chance to vote on unionizing. Federal labor officials filed a complaint Thursday alleging the Chipotle illegally closed a store in Augusta, Maine in response to an effort by workers to organize. The general counsel of the National Labor Relations Board recommended in the filing that Chipotle be ordered to reopen the store and bargain with the union, according to a board spokesperson. So, yeah, another example of
just shut it down.
Super sweet, altruistic companies who are so help their communities, and they only serve happy chicken meat, according to their commercials.
Wait. Happy
chicken meat.
Happy chicken meat. All our chickens and pigs died with smiles on their faces. And I'm not a vegetarian, but I don't make commercials pretending like I'm a good person either.
Right, yeah. There was,
right?
Yeah.
While I screw over people.
I remember years ago, like Netflix, for some reason, had like a 10-minute special all about Chipotle. Do you remember that? And I was like,
yeah, that's what I'm referring.
Oh, like what? Why is there a 10-minute long?
It was like a cartoon.
Yeah, but and it was like part documentary where they were like, "This is the reason they're such a great company, and this is why like they're." And I'm like, why? Like, why is this next to Friends or whatever the fuck this sitcom is that was like dominating the service?
Lori Shallow, Chipotle's chief corporate affairs officer, said in a statement that the closure had nothing to do with the union activity,
right?
And the company plans to vigorously defend ourselves. Our operational management reviewed the situation as it would any other restaurant with these unique staffing challenges. We respect our employees' rights to organize under the National Labor Relations Act and are committed to ensuring a fair, just, and humane work environment that provides opportunities to all. Yeah. Fuck you.
We don't talk. So let's see. I'm curious because we don't really. We tend to not have names outside of Schultz and Bezos. Steve Ells, ELLS. That's the CEO of Chipotle Mexican Grill. It seems
Steve Ells.
Oh wait, no, hang on a second. Maybe that's the old guy. I'm trying to see who's the current CEO. Like who is the Schultz of Chipotle?
Is Chipotle owned by McDonald's?
It went back and forth. It was like McDonald's bought them, which helped them spread, but they retained enough shares to then buy it back. I think we might have actually talked about this once, but let's see. CEO of Chipotle, Brian Nichol. Oh, this guy's face. He looks like a swindler.
Let me see his face. Hold your phone up.
What did he say? You want to see it?
Hold your phone up. Let me see his face.
Oh wait, let me find a good shot of it.
This bastard's face.
Yeah, come on. Look at. I mean, he looks like a comic book villain. Look at that chin and the jaw.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Eating some. And by the way, the photo I showed you, it's like him eating some Chipotle, but he looks so happy and altruistic. Not against unions.
Yep.
This episode of Good Work is brought to you in part by The Chief, a New York City-based newspaper focused on municipal government, civil servants, and the important issues affecting New York State and federal employees. Visit thechiefleader.com, where you can subscribe for as little as $2.75 a month. Hey everyone, Jake Lloyd-Bacon here.
Along with Paul Bianchi.
And Alexandra Hoy.
Hey, we all host different shows on Dragon Wagon Radio.
We do, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
Not at all. We are here to talk about Dungeons and Dragon Wagon,
a narrative podcast series in which we venture into a mythical land for a D&D inspired role-playing game.
Alexandra and I are joined by Matt Hinksman and a very special guest of Quest for each chapter of an epic saga in which we must take on the roles of half-orcs, dark elves, and more as we fight our way through a fantastical land of peril, drama, and often hilarity.
All of which is controlled by me, the Dungeon Master, and the player's chance rolls of the die.
And our show is for everyone. Even if you know nothing about D&D or role-playing games, we've got you covered.
That's right, our game sessions are highly edited, easy to follow, sound designed from top to bottom, and completely immersive.
Yeah, our episodes sound more like a well-produced radio drama than an RPG show.
So what are you waiting for? Join the adventure on Dungeons and Dragon Wagon at dndwpod.com or wherever you find great podcasts.
All right, welcome back, workers. So obviously, it's the holiday season. Holidays are, huge. I like holidays for a lot of different reasons. I like the traditions of them, and I really like that a lot of working people usually, hopefully, get a couple of days off, get to chill with their families, recoup some dignity and some humanity in their lives. But one thing I wanted to talk about, unfortunately, is I wanted to talk a little bit about Santa Claus. He's
got a busy weekend coming up. Christmas is this weekend.
He does have a busy weekend, but it's funny you just say he has a busy weekend, Jake, because I would argue that there's a lot of people that have a busy weekend that are involved in the Santa workshop enterprise.
Sure.
And I don't think they get the acknowledgement they deserve, and I don't think that Santa Claus gets the criticism that he deserves.
Oh,
are you putting St. Nicholas on blast?
I am. I'm putting him on blast. In fact, I'm going so far. You guys know me. I'm big into cancel culture.
Right.
I'm going so far as
we
to
know that
saying,
about you.
I think it might be time to cancel the Claus, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, you think we need to cancel the Claus?
I mean, if you're, if you want to consider yourself to be, pro-labor, or if you want to have class consciousness with your fellow workers, then I think we have to have a serious conversation about what Santa Claus has done.
All right,
this time we had a serious conversation.
Conversation.
Well, here's the thing, though, is like Santa Claus does give things away, so there's no exchange of finances.
He's not making money, James.
Well, but
unless he feeds off of joy.
Yes, that's the thing. He feeds off of that's his profit margin is
currency.
That's and you have to wonder. So here you have this guy, right?
Okay.
First of all, I think it's insane that collectively the global community has made it okay for one human being to own an entire area of the globe, known as the North Pole. Right.
Right.
Just see what I'm gonna just interject here for a second.
Yeah.
Does he own the North Pole? I didn't know that.
I mean,
is that part of the?
I would imagine that.
I just thought he just lives there.
But
I would
who's he
imagine
paying
it's
rent
private
to?
property.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody
you
has
have to pay rent. I mean, yeah, right. But I think he lives on the North Pole. Like I live in North America.
Right.
I don't own North America.
Right.
Okay, but
I think he just has a house there.
He has a house.
Yeah, in one section of it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. I'll give a little leniency there.
All right,
That's fine.
Okay. I just want to keep it fair because I'm on board with you. I think
it might be an instance
got some
where
problems.
and it might be an instance where well, he has the house, and there's nothing that necessarily is preventing us from also going and putting a house on the North Pole.
Yeah.
But we don't have the means that he does.
Right. That's true.
I guess if he lives on the pole,
yeah,
there's only one pole.
Right. True. There's that too. Yeah.
There's one access.
It comes up right through his house. Yeah.
Yeah, the little barbershop pole that comes up there. We all know that's how it works.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And
totally.
It winds from the bottom up, but then on the South Pole it winds the other direction. Like the little bar. Yeah, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
All right, but so here's
That's
the thing.
where the bad
so
Santa lives.
Yeah. So if his income is joy, essentially, if that's his, then is that, do the elves, do his employees get paid in joy? How are they taken care of for their service? Because this is the thing, is there is an exchange with Santa and us, which we can argue whether or not it's consensual. It's still an exchange of joy for goods. But what's the exchange between the labor,
right,
and I guess what would be the CEO of Christmas in a way, Santa?
And that's the big
what are they?
That's the big question, because obviously Santa Claus owns the means of production for toys, right? And we know that he doesn't build the toys; he owns the warehouse. But the laborers, the elves, they make the toys, and I think that I think it would be beneficial if Santa was transparent in terms of exactly the decision making process that the elves, and let's not forget the reindeer, who are what'd you say?
Well, so now the reindeer, I was going to ask that. Are they not the same as like a farm animal?
Right. Yeah.
What do you mean, like a farm animal?
Like they work like a workhorse, or like an ox that works. They're not the employee of the farmer.
they are technically skilled labor because they can fly. So it's not quite like they are, like, you need to find a specific type of reindeer. And the question is are these the only ones that fly?
I've never heard of another one other than those 8, 9, depending on what story you believe. But I think it's I guess you're right, because those are unique reindeer. Those are 8.
Also,
not any reindeer could do that.
I think it's sentience. It's also like, what is their intelligence?
Sentience.
Yeah.
What is their sentient?
Now, and he does do the deliveries. I'm just, counterpointing you a little bit. They make everything, but he delivers everything.
Sure.
That's fair. Yeah.
He's the only delivery driver they got, because who knows if they have a license?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's completely fair as well. And I guess basically my point is, okay, look, if let's say you were to turn Santa's workshop into a cooperative, right?
Okay.
Where they all owned it together, Santa could still come out in the end here making a lot more joy than everybody else, because I think collectively everybody would notice, okay, look, Santa's got the magic, 100% agree with that, right? Santa also makes the deliveries, massive part of the production of these toys, right? So collectively, we all decide, you know what, Santa deserves this much, but also we need our material needs met as well, as elves, as reindeer, as, the little snowmen
It does seem unbalanced, because what is being given to the workers of Santa, and that he is getting back from them not just the material goods of their service, but also, as we learned, he's feeding on joy. So are they
like
happy?
Succubus.
Are they? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Are they also happy? What is he offering them lodging? Is he offering?
I'm pretty sure elves cookies are what they get paid in.
So they get paid in cookies. So essentially sustenance. So he gives them meals.
Well, I'm not saying that's the only thing. Maybe that's all. Maybe, but it's not their meal. Maybe that's their currency.
Right,
is cookies.
Sure.
Right.
But here's my question: isn't Santa an elf? Because there is in that one poem that 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, he's referred to as a jolly old elf.
Yeah.
So is he like an older one?
I think it makes it even sadder.
He's just a king elf.
Yeah,
he's like the king elf.
He's exploiting his own people.
Well, all right. Well, let's think of a couple of questions here. Where can elves go somewhere else for work if they're paid?
They can go. Oh yeah, they work at shoe shops. They can work in trees.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But,
they can work.
But is it a matter?
They can help. They could be a part of a fellowship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is there enough of that work though to go around? Also, there's another thing that I want to talk about that you mentioned, North Pole. If an elf wanted to leave, you're on the North Pole. You're so isolated. You're detached from the rest of the world. Does Santa just hand somebody a box lunch and send them on their way across the Arctic to deal with polar bears and dire wolves and
totally?
and orcas?
I mean, that's what I mean. Like Santa Claus is
he has the exit strategy. He has the transportation. Like he's the only one who can fly around.
Yes.
The reindeer don't listen to the elves.
No.
They're being. I mean, like he's got them by the ears.
He's got
making
the jingle bells.
Yeah, he's got it by the jingle bells.
You're making a convert of me. I do think he's exploiting the workforce in a very large way, where he's making them seem like, hey, there's not a lot of work out there for you. Where else are you going to go? Really, this is the best place for you. You live amongst your people. I feed you. I give you the cookies that you need. Your currency. I give you a place to stay.
Yeah,
I give you all the tickles you want. I think that's what elves also like is tickles.
Right.
But,
and I think that with our regular politics and the way that it is, I think like if you were to talk to a Republican about this, they would say right now that we need Santa Claus to just be able to do what he does as a job creator, as an owner. A Democrat, though, would say that, like, no, we just need to reform and put some regulations on Santa. Make sure that Santa is...
Make sure the elves are being taken care of.
Totally. But, I'm offering more of the socialist perspective, which is, you know what? Full revolution. There is no reason for one Santa Claus to exist. I think they all can collectively own the workshop together and give Santa extra for all of the extra things he's providing in certain ways.
Or teach them, maybe like train them to fly.
There you go.
And maybe get some other reindeer. I bet it doesn't take 8 of them to take one elf. I bet they can spread it out.
That's a great
spread
point.
it out.
Now
and
we're
also
talking.
we forget about the elf on the shelf. They tried to create a space for themselves in Christmas, a little bit of work. That's not catching on.
No,
one really does that.
And plus, what kind of life is that? Some grubby kid getting his little grubby fingers all over you. All like it's not. That's not a good. That is even a worse. Probably.
That's called parenting.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But it's also it also does not seem like a great situation for them. I think if I was an elf, I'd rather be in the North Pole, slaving away over I don't know what they make, the wooden trains from 70 years ago, I guess.
And does the wood? That's a question too, because a lot of it is woodwork.
Yeah.
Do they just? Where's the wood come from?
The Brazilian rainforests, for sure.
Oh shit!
And that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, wait, the Brazilian president, the new guy, says like, no, that's it. The rainforests are protected. You can no longer touch them.
Yeah, one of the darkest secrets about Santa Claus is that he was a huge supporter of Bolsonaro. The right-wing fascist
oh my gosh,
president of Brazil. Yeah,
I didn't know this.
Yeah, because he would have gotten more of that sweet rainforest lumber.
Now, do they also make the PlayStations out of that?
Yeah, it's a malleable.
That's why there was a shortage. That's why the PS5s are on back order, because they're looking for a new rainforest.
There's a lot of issues.
So
with
if you
Santa
all right,
Claus.
so in your ideal situation, in your North Pole utopia, the elves are supposedly getting more, but what does more mean for them? Like you said, okay, maybe we can send out 7 other elves or whatever on different things, but like, what would the co-op gain them that they don't currently have?
I'll tell you what, decision making.
Absolutely,
and just they get a say in their own livelihood and what they do. Oh, we haven't heard from them. If this is what they want, then that's fine. But we got to give them a voice, Jake.
Oh, you know what?
We don't even know if they like the North Pole. If they had decision-making choices, they
we
might
don't even
want
know
to have...
what they are.
Yeah.
Last week, I talked all about the Match Girl strike, and a big part of that story was the foremen who weren't allowing the complaints to reach upper management. Do you think that in the workshops, there are like other elves who are foremen who are kind of in the pocket of Santa, who are sort of keeping the working class elves kind of under thumb?
Oh,
I think you're describing Mrs. Claus.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
You just.
Oh, is she really the one pulling the strings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literal strings, like Pinocchio.
But just like any other corporation or company, she calls herself HR. And we all know what that really is. It's just a department to keep the company safe.
So what's at stake, though? Here's my question: as this whole thing tumbles, what does Santa lose outside of, I suppose, the respect of people globally, and a guaranteed one night of endless joy?
What does he lose if it becomes a co-op?
Yeah, let's play the devil's advocate. Like, what is he?
Why doesn't he want it?
Yeah, is this the 4-hour work week all over again? Where it's like, hey, you'll be fine if you just do this. Is it
I
mutually?
think he has power. He's in love with the power.
He's in love. Yeah.
He wants all the joy. He wants all the cookies, because I don't think the elves know that people leave Santa cookies.
Oh, hang on.
The elves don't know that.
You're right.
Also,
Also,
you don't think they get some cookies?
And the reindeer get carrots.
I guarantee you that they're not even using the elves who make cookies to supply those cookies.
Oh,
how could you
sure.
guarantee that?
Have the cookies that you have left? Mine did not come from the elves. No.
I know. It's just a strong thing to guarantee. That's all I'm saying.
Mine came from the other little. It feels like now that we're getting deeper into this, it does feel like maybe there is some dark shit happening, and I feel like Mrs. Claus might be at the center of a lot of this darkness too. I feel like she's probably working with Big Cookie to ensure that there's not enough work for the cookie elves, so that those elves have to come up. Yeah, they have to come up to the North Pole, which then just creates this perfect cycle. Like, if we crush the hopes and spirits of cookie elves worldwide, and we make sure that their business is not booming, then they will have no choice but to come and be indentured servants, and one could argue, in the North Pole.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you guys know me. I've called for reparations for the Keeblers for as long as I can remember. And they,
this is an instance though where I got to say, it's the Keeblers. It's kind of like the Starbucks, where it's like, I'm all for the workers, but your coffee is really kind of shitty. And like the Keeblers, I got to say, like I want them to work, but those cookies are not the best.
No, those fudge ones are good, man. With the circle ones with the little
the dipped. All right, I'll
drizzle.
give you.
Yeah,
but
is
it that it's a good cookie, or is it just that fudge is good? Do you know what I mean? Like, what do we really
that could
like?
that could be the question to anything.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I have no retort.
Is it good, or is it just that the ingredients are good?
We'll never know. We'll never know.
Is it a tasty sandwich, or is this always the bread and the meat and the cheese just really good?
I mean, in that instance, I think it's the cheese, really.
It's always the cheese. That's the answer. Well, hopefully we'll get this.
Bring an open mind.
And we didn't even get. I mean, we'll have to touch this in another episode, but we got to get into garden gnomes.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure
are gnomes and elves? There must be a shared space somewhere, right?
Hey man, that's not cool, Jake.
Yeah.
Whoa, I'm so sorry. Oh no, please inform me. I didn't know. I do not mean to be offensive or to be. I'm very progressive. Man. I think everybody should be included. I apologize I apologize to all the gnomes and elves out there listening if I was not supposed to do that. That's listen.
Well, James, thanks for bringing that to our attention. I think it is a really important topic for this holiday season to think about when you're opening your presents and you're, trying to.
I mean,
you're thanking the Claus, or you're
solidarity,
telling him your wishes. Yeah, just remember who he is.
Just remember,
and also those mall Santas. Do they work for him?
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely.
Why not give those jobs to elves?
Yeah. In fact, think about the amount of people that would come to see an actual North Pole elf if you just flew them down on one of the reindeer.
Line out the door.
I mean,
it'd be like the McDonald's on the Highway 95.
Oh my gosh, absolutely, Connecticut. It'd be like the Connecticut McDonald's. You know what? I do think I have a solution. We want to move the needle. We talk about boycotts sometimes help. Maybe this year, as you're opening up what you got from Santa, withhold just a little bit of your joy. Just curmudgeonly open up your presents.
Yeah.
And if we make a big dent this year and he doesn't get quite as much joy, he might realize, oh shit, people are upset about the elves, and changes might need to be made. I can't promise. Ultimately, our politicians are going to vote in the capitalist. Biden is going to be like, no, it's illegal to withhold your joy. he'll definitely sign that shit into law. But eventually, maybe the needle will move. And if not our generation, future generations.
You heard it here, folks. Take no joy in Christmas this year.
Yeah.
That's what Jake wants. That's what Jake wants you to do.
Thank you for co-signing. Thank you for co-signing.
Well, before we wrap up today, I just want to give a little movie recommendation. I saw this movie that I want everyone out there to see, so I can talk about it, so I don't spoil it.
You talking about the Santa Claus again with Tim Allen?
The Santa Claus, starring Tim Allen. No, I saw this movie called Triangle of Sadness, and it was so good.
Say the name again. Triangle of Sadness.
Triangle of Sadness. I don't want to say anything about it because it's fairly new, so I'm not going to, that's as far as I would take it. But it does have to do with a lot of the things we talk about on this show. So all the listeners and you two boneheads, I want you to listen to, or I want you to watch that movie.
Okay.
Because we are going to have an episode where we talk about it.
All right, maybe
it's on Amazon, right?
Sometime in the new year. All right,
sometime in the new year.
Try to watch it over the holidays, and sometime in the new year we'll go ahead and do that.
Watch it with your families.
Oh, geez. The way that you laugh through that makes me feel like that might not be real. Well, that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. We really appreciate you tuning in for this, which has been, almost 6 months of this program as the year ends. We will have a podcast come out next week, but we are taking time off for the holidays. So we're going to have a fun little clip show next week. And then we haven't quite discussed it. I don't think we're going to be here for the first week of the year. I think the first week of the year we will be dark, and then we'll be back the second week of the year. Maybe we'll talk all about Triangle of Sadness, which just sounds like a delight.
What a way to start the year.
Yeah. Wait, really good way to start the new year with a movie called Triangle of Sadness. Really hope that you have a fantastic holiday season. We hope you enjoy your Hanukkahs, your Kwanzas, your Christmases, your New Year's, all that stuff. And if you enjoyed this show, give us a little holiday cheer. Head on over to goodworkpod.com. Goodworkpod.com is your one-stop shop for all things good work. There you can find links to our social media accounts. You can find a link to the Discord community. I can't stress enough how nice the Discord community is. It's a great place to go, and it's like social media, but with a small knit, awesome group of people who you all like and sharing information and views and heck,
I like it.
Talk all about the Triangle of Sadness there. That is completely free, by the way. The Discord community is not connected to Patreon. It's not connected to anything. It's just another free thing you can go do. That's at goodworkpod.com, where you can also find official merchandise. Snag yourself a mask, a mug, a shirt. Lots of really lovely designs there over at goodworkpod.com.
And you can email us at goodworkpod@gmail.com or call the Good Work voicemail box at 929-256-5151 for any questions or stories or holiday wishes.
And also, please subscribe, rate, and review the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/goodworkpod. Patreon.com/goodworkpod.
Patreon is the best way to support the show throughout the year, but 'tis the season of giving. And at the end of this year, this holiday season, I always like to encourage everybody to check out dragonwagonradio.com/support to watch a short video there that will explain to you exactly what Dragon Wagon Radio is, why it exists, how it came to be, how it operates, and how you can do your part to ensure that we continue to bring fantastic podcasts just like this to you for completely free for years to come. Again, that's dragonwagonradio.com/support. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy holidays and Merry Christmas, fellas.
Yeah. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and good work.
And
good work.
Good work.
Dragon Wagon.